All right, I'm just going to do the intro right now, and if we need to bullshit, fine. It's going to be on the cast. Thank the light, everyone. I am your caged wolf.
You
and
son of a
these are my
bitch.
wolf brothers.
You literally took what I was going to say.
So sorry. I didn't even have one until like 30 seconds ago. I'm like, oh, fuck, we're recording.
That's even more fucked up because I literally was like, what am I going to say? I'm like, I'll be your caged wolf brother. And I'm like, no, the fuck I won't. I will be somebody else. I will be your insane white cloak today.
And I'm so upset that I couldn't do anything but light the trees on fire.
Just makes you feel completely impotent. Just fire trees. Damn it.
Trees are on fire. That's all I could do.
Can you imagine having a cock so big you can't even use it because you'll destroy anything it touches?
I don't have to imagine it. Da-da-da. Hey! That is the worst dumb joke ever, but I couldn't let it go. And Jeremy was never going to make that.
I was not going to make that joke.
He's like, that's way too dirty. We won't say that. We're not going to do that.
Listen, you guys can say that all you want.
Oh, we'll keep saying it too. That's going to be our tag this episode. Every 5 or 10 minutes, just cock!
I wonder what your neighbors think sometimes, Des.
Oh.
Your neighbor's outside just like doing some stuff while like you're right by the fence, and all of a sudden you just hear you screaming.
I do wonder because like I don't occasionally in the summer when it's just super hot, I just have to open the window. And then we have recorded outside before, actually. I've recorded 2 podcasts in my outside of my fire pit.
That's awesome.
Really? I bet it sounds better than wherever I'm recording because mine always sounds the worst. I don't know what it is. I got to figure it out because it sounds terrible.
It's your bad attitude that reverberates.
It's my.
Welcome to the Wheel of Time podcast. We are your true source, the purest light, your companion cast, a warder, if you will, for this journey through all things Wheel of Time. Do you know what made me sad today? I realized not a single person has given me a thumbs up for wearing the Bale Doman hoodie that Fatty got me. And I know the Wheel of Time isn't huge, but like I wear it as much as I can, just hoping I'll bump into someone. They'll be like, I know what you're doing.
Nobody? Not one person?
Not a soul.
It's because you live in California and no one actually interacts there and looks at each other. I also live in a place like that, except I live in like the outskirts of Seattle where no one talks to each other. So here, everyone talks. You're in line for longer than a couple minutes. Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Why are you speaking to me? Get away. I'm not giving you anything. I will not join your pyramid scheme or your cult. Get away from me. I just wanted to see how your day was going, sir.
I made a friend in the sauna this week.
Okay, that's dangerous.
I've seen a lot of movies that start this way.
They call those bathhouses dead, Des.
Speaking of bathhouses, I made a very stupid comment one time. We used to have this poker night. It was like once a month. And so we were talking, and I was like, man, I saw this movie last night called Eastern Promises. And
Dude,
I was like,
that's
have you seen Eastern Promises?
Dude, I don't know how you can pull off such an amazing, believable fight scene with your wiener out.
Right? That's what
She knows what we're talking about. Eastern Promises.
Oh,
Viggo
yeah.
Mortensen's got, she's like, oh yeah. Like, dude, that's like, it's like those guys got knives and it's like, he's junk to the wind and he's winning, man. It's pop, pop, pop.
It is literally like my worst nightmare. Trying to like do things fast on slippery tiles while you're naked. It's like,
oh, and 2 big like fucking Russian guys got fucking knives and they're trying to murder you. Also, that's bad.
yeah, that's bad too. Yeah. So there's
That's a good movie.
a fight scene in the bath. Like it's not a bathhouse, right? It's a steam room. They come after him and try to kill him.
It's a sauna, like a Russian sauna style. They go there to have like a meeting of some sort, and then these two guys walk in. They're fully clothed, by the way, and he's just nude as fuck with the dick flapping and trying to fight. And I'm just like, dude, he deserves an Oscar for that performance.
And the whole time it's like, oh God, oh God, oh God.
I know. Just take one hand and cup him, dude. Just fucking Honda that shit.
I'll yank that thing off like a paper towel.
God, we were so far off the rails. I'm gonna save the story what happened to me this weekend for the next one. So I'm not gonna shoot my proverbial wad. No, episode 2. Because we got to get into this one is what it's gonna come down to.
Done and done. Let's do it.
I'll give you $20 if you remember to tell that story.
Tune into the next episode, folks.
Oh, I will. Tune into the next episode, which will be in 45 minutes for us. And
is it gonna make the final cut?
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, you're the only one who has power over that.
Fantastic. So the next episode, we will not be talking about the Wheel of Time. Tune in for Fatty's story time.
Fatty's weekend regalia.
Our whole audience at the same time just went, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why we tune in. Thank the light. I will be your no longer wide cloak because I'm gonna go be a hunter of the horn.
All right.
Why was that so funny? Oh my God. Today, for this hour of the recording, we're going to be talking about
chapter 8 in The Dragon Reborn.
The Dragon Reborn, chapter 8, Jarra. Which, thank you, Fatty, for pointing this out. I had kind of forgotten about. I did have it bookmarked, but for some reason, I think it's just because we've been talking so much Wolf Brothers stuff. I was like, maybe not. But this is, we're basically just going through, like, I think 3 and 4, from what I know about you guys.
Well, at this point, yeah, I'm just kind of going through this book with you,
Well, and I think from what I've heard from you guys, I think we might end up doing this with 3 and 4, and then we can kind of start rushing through the rest and hitting some high points.
There'll be much more like picking and choosing once you get there because there'll be bigger battles and more like poignant scenes. But like right now, there's so many poignant scenes. Like I was kind of like, yeah, we could skip ahead. And then I started looking at it. I was like, dude, I wanted to do chapter 9 for our, the next episode coming up. And then I was like, oh, should we do that one and move ahead? And I was like, I wonder where he's at. And I was like, dude, if you've been to chapter 8, I'd say that there's a lot to unpack in that episode. We can just kind of run through it, hit bullet points, but there's some stuff with Moraine and Lan, Perrin, Rand, and then the actual.
Well, and it's just, it's important because, we're getting introduced to so much. Eventually, Robert Jordan is he can only introduce us to so many things before he just starts telling the story.
Yeah.
And right now we are deep in the like, oh, have you heard about this shit? Or I've kind of told you about this, but now I'm going to tell you what it's really about.
And using some, maybe not familiar characters, but familiar groups of people to bring weight to the story and how much Rand is already affecting the world just by passing through.
Yeah. So I'm going to pretty much start this where a little bit before the healing, or not the healing, a little bit before they meet, before they go to the cage.
Right. So we just lay it out like they've gotten to this town and, they are trying to be hot on Rand's heels, right? Because he's taken off by himself. And so they're trying to kind of like, have you seen this guy? But, Perrin's kind of like, yeah, have you seen my friend Rand? He's a big guy, red hair, looks kind of like an Aielman. And they're like, hey, shut the fuck up. Be a little bit more subtle about that. We're looking for a guy, he gets cut off a couple of times and he just fucking thickly does not get it. He's like, how are we gonna know if he's here if we don't ask?
Yeah.
It's like, well, she's like a master of fucking like disseminating information and stuff like that. So why don't you just maybe let her
being subtle?
Yeah, you just let her fucking take the lead. He's about as subtle as a fucking gunshot.
He's about as subtle as a blacksmith's iron.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna pound this answer out of you.
And so one thing we have to establish too, after that last battle that happened where they were all waiting and then the Trollocs came and attacked, that night Rand just takes off. And so they're trying to figure out where the heck's he going? How can we stay on his tail? And they're trying to follow him.
And they left a note.
Rand left a note, yeah.
Yeah, what did it, I forget what it said. Just peace?
Yeah.
He was just like, he's like, he's back again. He's chasing me. One of us has got to die. Basically what he says kind of to the guys in the town, like he's chasing me and one of us has got to die this time. Like we can't, it's got to go down, and that I don't want to risk any of the people who've already been hurt from me. So I'm just going to go at it alone, basically is what he says. Went and got pen and paper from Loyal and then just dipped.
All right. The Dragon Reborn, Chapter 8, Jarra, minute 6. This might be a little bit early, but we'll get into it.
They lay in contorted strips, stopping as abruptly as they began, too dark for the light between them. He had no idea where the light came from. "No," he said, then louder. "No, this is a dream. I need to wake up. Wake up."
Oh.
So I was like, this is the wrong chapter.
Yeah, why did it jump in?
This is the next episode.
It was on it. It was right on it when I pressed play. Oh my God, stop. There we go. Because I had it bookmarked and everything. Oh, that's what I was looking at. Okay. All right, I see why I fucked up. All right, I'm going to jump ahead. 2330 is where we're going to be, everyone. The Dragon Reborn, Chapter 8, Jarra, 2330 in.
Simeon snatched one of the candles and scurried into the hallway, still bowing so the candlelight made their shadows dance. "This way, good mistress, this way." Beyond the door at the end of the hall, outside stairs led down to a cramped alleyway between inn and stable. The half-moon was up in a star-flecked sky, giving more than enough light for Perrin's eyes. Simeon led them back to a small shed behind the stable and hurriedly unbarred the door. "This way," Simeon pointed. "There, good mistress, there, my brother Gnome." The far end of the shed had been barred off with slats of wood, hastily by the rough look of it. A stout iron lock and a hasp held shut a crude door of wooden slats. Behind those bars, a man lay sprawled on his stomach on the straw-covered floor. He was barefoot, his shirt and breeches ripped as if he had torn at them without knowing how to take them off. There was an odor of unwashed flesh that Perrin thought even Simeon and Moraine must smell. Gnome lifted his head and stared at them silently, without expression. There was nothing at all about him to suggest he was Simeon's brother. He had a chin, for one thing, and he was a big man with heavy shoulders. Gnome stared at them with burnished, golden eyes. "He'd been talking crazy almost a year, good mistress, saying he could talk with wolves, and his eyes." Simeon darted a glance at Perrin. "Well, he'd talk about it when he'd drunk too much. Everybody laughed at him. And then a month or so ago, he didn't come to town. I went out to see what was the matter, and I found him, like this." Cautiously, unwillingly, Perrin reached out toward Gnome as he would have toward a wolf, running through the woods with the cold wind in his nose. Quick dash for cover, teeth snapping at hamstrings, taste of blood, rich on the tongue. "Kill!" Perrin jerked back, as he would have from a fire, sealed himself off. They were not thoughts at all, really. Just a chaotic jumble of desires and images, part memory, part yearning. But there was more wolf there than anything else. He put a hand to the wall to steady himself. His knees felt weak. "Light, help me." Moraine put a hand on the lock. "Master Herod has the key, good mistress. I don't know if he'll..." She gave a tug, and the lock sprang open. Simeon gaped at her. She lifted the lock free of the hasp, and the chinless man turned to Perrin. "Is that safe, good master? He's my brother, but he bit Mother Rune when she tried to help, and he killed a cow with his teeth." "Moraine," Perrin said, "the man is dangerous." "All men are dangerous," she replied in a cool voice. "Now be quiet." She opened the door and went in. Perrin held his breath. At her first step, Gnome's lips peeled back from his teeth, and he began to growl. A rumble that deepened till his whole body quivered. Moraine ignored it. Still growling, Gnome wriggled backwards in the straw as she came closer to him, until he had backed himself into a corner. Or she had backed him. Slowly, calmly, the Aes Sedai knelt and took his head between her hands. Gnome's growl heightened to a snarl, then tailed off in a whimper before Perrin could move. For a long moment, Moraine held Gnome's head, then just as calmly released it and rose. Perrin's throat tightened as she turned her back on Gnome and walked out of the cage, but the man only stared after her. She pushed the slatted door to, slipped the lock back through the hasp, not bothering to snap it shut. And Gnome hurled himself snarling against the wooden bars, all the while snarling and snapping. Simeon was staring at his brother. "Can you help him, good mistress?" he asked hoarsely. "I am sorry, Simeon," she said. "Can't you do anything, good mistress? Something? One of those..." His voice fell to a whisper. "Aes Sedai things." "Healing is not a simple matter, Simeon, and it comes from within as much as from the healer. There is nothing here that remembers being Gnome, nothing that remembers being a man. There are no maps remaining to show him the path back, and nothing left to take that path. Gnome is gone, Simeon." "He just used to talk funny, good mistress. When he'd had too much to drink, he just..." Simeon scrubbed a hand across his eyes and blinked. "Thank you, good mistress. I know you'd have done something if you could." She put a hand on his shoulder, murmured comforting words, and then she was gone from the shed. Perrin knew he should follow her, but the man, what had once been a man, snapping at the wooden bars, held him. He took a quick step and surprised himself by removing the dangling lock from the hasp. Perrin stared at the lock in his hand, at the man behind in the cage. Gnome had stopped biting at the slats. He stared back at Perrin warily, panting. Some of his teeth had broken off jaggedly. "You can leave him in here forever," Perrin said. "But I don't think he'll ever get any better." "If he gets out, good master, he'll die." "He will die in here or out there, Simeon. Out there, at least, he'll be free and as happy as he can be. He is not your brother anymore, but you're the one who has to decide. You can leave him in here for people to stare at. Leave him to stare at the bars of his cage until he pines away. You cannot cage a wolf, Simeon. Not and expect it to be happy. or live long. Yes, Simeon said slowly. Yes, I see. He hesitated, then nodded and jerked his head toward the shed door. That was all the answer Perrin needed. He swung back the slatted door and stood aside. For a moment, Gnome stared at the opening. Abruptly, he darted out of the cage, running on all fours, but with surprising agility. Out of the cage, out of the shed, and into the night. The light help us both, Perrin thought. I suppose it's better for him to be free. Simeon gave himself a shake. But I don't know what Master Herod will say when he finds that door standing open and Gnome gone. Perrin shut the cage door. The big lock made a sharp click as he refastened it. Let him puzzle that out. Some of them say Gnome turned into a wolf, fur and all, when he bit Mother Rune. It's not true, but they say it. He may not have fur, but he is a wolf. He is a wolf, not a man. Light help me. We didn't keep him here always, Simeon said suddenly. He was at Mother Rune's house, but she and I got Master Herod to move him here after the White Cloaks came. They always have a list of names. Dark friends they're looking for. It was Gnome's eyes, you see. One of the names the White Cloaks had was a fellow named Perrin Barra, a blacksmith. They said he has yellow eyes and runs with wolves. You see why I didn't want them to know about Gnome. Perrin turned his head enough to look at Simeon over his shoulder. Do you think this Perrin Barra is a dark friend? A dark friend wouldn't care if my brother died in a cage. I suppose she found you soon after it happened. In time to help. Suddenly it burst on him that the whole village must know about Gnome. About his eyes. Simeon, would you bring me something to eat in my room? Master Herod and the rest might have been too taken with staring at Loyal to notice his eyes before, but they surely would if he ate in the common room.
Woo! Now that's a wolf brother.
So Perrin has now been able to see both sides of kind of his fate. You got Elias, who still interacts with people, chooses to live in the wilds, but, obviously, holds on to himself as a man in this world. And then you see this cat who, obviously is fully Teen Wolfed out.
We haven't met Elias in the show, have we?
No, but I do believe he's going to be in the second season, I'm told.
Yeah.
I think is what I fucking managed to suss out.
I think it's been, he's been cast. So yeah.
Tom's not going to be in season 2, which makes sense because Tom disappears for a while.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that, he shows back up in season 3. But
He was supposed to be in that 1899 show.
Oh.
And they canceled that though. So he might get brought back a little sooner, but probably not.
Probably not.
So we'll probably see Elias and Gnome so that we can, as a viewer, be concerned for Perrin.
I kind of thought about that when I was listening to it. What do you think, Jeremy? I was thinking that maybe they'll just hear a story about him, but I mean, they wouldn't have to dedicate a whole lot of time to it. Hey, we're at this place. Hey, you seem like you're an Aes Sedai. Can you look at my brother? I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, there's so many times when Perrin starts to go, I can't let the wolf take over. I'll start to become more like a wolf. You don't really understand what he's talking about.
Especially after he fights,
Exactly. Or when he gets tired, when he's just doing something for a long time and his lizard brain starts taking, that's actually his wolf brain starts taking over.
Totally. That's a good way though. It's literally, he starts getting in his head.
And so what the easiest way to show what can happen is to show it happen to someone else when he goes completely off the rails. I think they almost have to have that in, but there's a lot of things they should have.
Otherwise, we're just going to be like, oh, cool, Wolf Brothers, whatever.
Yeah, what's the big deal if there's no threat,
But you're right. They could just tell a story. They could show up in a bar and just hear tales of the Wolf Brother gone bad.
What if they show up in the bar and they hear him, oh, his eyes are kind of amber colored, not quite yellow yet, telling stories about talking to wolves or something when he's drunk, mumbling in his ale or something. I don't think it would land the same. I think you gotta see him like literally, I'm sleeping in the straw. I'm in a cage. There's no man left.
Biting a cow.
Yeah, dude. Oh, there you go.
They'll probably cut it down to one simple little thing that he says, and so that they can focus on a minor character and put a whole entire episode on them, so that we don't really need to know what happens to Innkeeper number 3.
Well, dude, Des just called it cold open.
Oh,
his fucking you see yellow eyes in the dark, in a Twilight kind of situation. And then it steps out to go after the cow, and it's a dude, with long hair and a beard. And then they catch him, and you see him biting the lady, and then see him getting locked up, with a dog catcher noose on his neck or whatever thing, And then that's your cold open, and it's whoa, what the fuck was that?
And they could do it because, part of me is that wouldn't make a very good episode. But if 75% of the episode is wherever the fuck Matt is and his crew, then they could make the other 25% Moraine and them dealing with Gnome and not draw it out too much.
Yeah, it makes me wonder how are they going to split everyone up? Is Min going to be more a part of the second season like she should have been, or like she is in the books, second and third books? She's not really in the third book. She is in the second book quite a bit.
She's like around a lot, but she doesn't get a lot of. Even when she is back in, and then leaves with, after all the shit goes down, she still doesn't get a lot of POV or stuff. It's about the other people that she's with a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because every once in a while I hear her name in the book and I'm like, oh, she's fucking still there. Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's still around.
Min's walking around. She's doing stuff.
Yeah, I believe where we're at right now, she just got sent to Tarvalin.
So this guy wasn't actually killing, Gnome wasn't actually killing men.
No.
Perrin was just reading his thoughts. He was just thirsting for blood, and it went to a dark place for a second.
Thought he was talking about a deer, but I could be wrong.
Oh, yeah. Do we see anything like, because wolf brothers aren't that common, so this is it, right? As far...
No, they're very uncommon. As a matter of fact, they even talk about it being older than the Age of Legends and that it's been so long. Like, even some of the Forsaken are kind of like, well, what the fuck are you? I only heard like rumors about this back in the day. So it's something that is definitely coming again. But it's like him and Elias and this other dude, Gnome. If you ever hear the name, you'll hear the name Boundless.
Yeah.
A few times here and there when he's talking to wolves and you don't realize it's actually Gnome. That's his wolf name.
Is he out there now?
Yep.
Oh, so we'll see him again.
He is at the last battle, I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember that. Wow.
And if he's not at the last battle, Perrin contacts him in the wolf dream when he's fighting and doing some other stuff around Tower. There's like a problem with traveling in and out of the not Alabaster Tower, so
because they don't actually know. Yeah, because and they don't know because if there's not that many wolf brothers since the Age of Legends, they don't actually know, but they're definitely talking about it like this is going to eat him alive like a false dragon.
Yeah.
So, but it is possible for him to just go live the wolf life happily and
right. And that's what it is. I think of Perrin's biggest fear is what he just saw.
Yeah, because
he's just like, well, what if when it's like, if that's your biggest fear, you're not gonna probably succumb to it because you want to be a man. That's obviously this dude didn't have enough good in being a man that where being a wolf was so much more enticing.
So is it just because it kind of like being an Aes Sedai, he didn't have anyone to train him, so he just went mad with wolfiness instead of like having like if Elias was there, could he have helped him kind of manage this without going full wolf?
Possibly.
Maybe. It's also one of those things where it's always at like nagging at him. Like it's kind of like the power where it's always trying to take him over. Like he wants to go to that. It's easy to succumb to it. It's like the dark side. It's easy to succumb to becoming the wolf.
Cookies. It's fun.
Yeah.
No, that's very true because like there'll be times when like Perrin at the beginning of being a wolf brother, he'll be in a city or whatever, and because he's kind of far enough by proximity away, like he kind of doesn't really get him. He doesn't really get the images because wolves just aren't around there. And then he starts and he'll be like, oh, at first he's like, oh, it's really nice. I don't have to like stress on, losing myself to the wolf. And then at a certain point, it fucking flips on its head. And he's just like, oh, dude, he's like, I'm feeling alone. I feel incomplete because he's in a city and he has because the wolves he'll be like riding down, as he's traveling, they'll be like, oh, here's this pack. And they're like, who the fuck are you? Why can we talk to you? You're a human. And he's like, oh, I'm young bull, blah, blah, blah. And then, he has to meet the next set of wolves and the next set of wolves. So they're always kind of there and intruding. Like Jeremy said, it's like you can't get away from them.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like the documentary Teen Wolf. He wants to be like Michael J. Fox and wolf out all the time, right? So that's what Gnome wants to do.
No, he wants to be like Jason Bateman.
No, that's Teen Wolf 2. Okay.
Lame.
That's Teen Wolf 2. And that is the not even close. I don't even know. I won't even address that. But Perrin is
If it
more
was
like
anybody but Jason Bateman, I would allow it, but we're going to leave this on the record.
I love Jason Bateman. But Perrin is more like Michael J. Fox's dad, where he's like just under the radar. He was a werewolf the whole time. He just like, I just only bust it out every once in a while whenever I need it.
It's cool.
Whereas, Gnome wants to be where he wants to wolf out constantly and win basketball
24/7.
games.
Well, when you're wolf out, you can dunk, dude. So, I mean.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. The one thing that would have saved Gnome is he needed his styles. He didn't have his styles.
Too deep for me. Back to the show. Speaking of angry at their dad, Lan and Moraine are kind of like angry parents when Perrin walks in the door. They're just like, what the fuck do you want? You've already been running your mouth and we told you to shut the fuck up. Now you're probably just going to give us more bad news. What is it? What have you done now? And he's just like, well, yeah. But there's lots of reasons. Like, first of all, they're stressed because Rand's gone. Like, that was not part of the plan. And Lan's pissed because Moraine is doing something that has never been done. We've talked about it a little bit without being too spoilery. In the event of her death.
Oh.
Which, at this point, I don't know why she's even doing that because she hasn't went through the Turing reel on the Stone of Tyr yet. So why does she think her death... She's kind of... This is kind of the mission we're on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're always...
I've already almost died a couple of times. So.
She can see which way the wind's blowing, man. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Smells like I'm going to get fucking pulverized. Yeah, no, they just seem like pissed off parents, but like it's because they're stressed and, parents not exactly helping.
Yeah, are they trying to get to not Tarvalin?
They're trying to follow Rand.
Oh, that's right. They're after Rand.
And they're not even sure that they're going the right way. That's why they're so stressed. They're actually kind of less stressed after they get to this place because they're like, all of the weddings. That was some of the stuff that we skipped over. Yeah. The weddings, the white cloaks losing their shit and like, a couple white cloaks going like, I'm not going to be white cloaks. Like white cloaks swear for life. They're like,
give a little background what you're talking about though.
Yeah. Tell that. Yeah.
Because you kind of went right in the middle, but like that's not something we've talked about.
So the reason why they know that Rand has come this way is because when they get to town, they're like, everybody's like zombied out. Everybody's like hungover as fuck. And they're like, what the hell's going on here? They start asking around. Apparently, Rand got to town and people decided they were going to get married. And so like they had this young gal.
Well, but they didn't know Rand got to town. Like they're just like, all this shit happened.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, all of a sudden, the young gal from across town went and decided to ask the widow or the widower, this guy who's old enough to be her father, and then the widower and the widow in town got together, and it was just all these marriages just started happening and all this crazy stuff, and it's been just a week long or like a weekend long party since Rand showed up, and nobody knows what's going on. Also, some white cloaks came to town during the whole thing. A couple of them decided they weren't going to be white cloaks anymore, started harassing some of the women. They ended up having to be subdued. A couple of the white cloaks decided they were going to go be hunters of the horn then. And so it kind of just chaos. But the reason why is because Rand is there. And also, Rand decided he played flute for half the weddings as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
whatever. Hey, the Dragon Reborn played flute at my wedding. What do you got to say?
But tell him why Rand being there is significant.
Well, he's Taviran. He is the strongest Taviran ever been. That's one of the things we missed too. They talk about how Hawkwing was such a strong Taviran, and he is a candle on your counter compared to the raging bonfire that is Rand.
And this is the beginning of Rand's impact.
Yeah.
On every fucking where he goes. And every person he's in contact with.
Also, Perrin says something about he gets a hint of something evil. Between Rand and his party who's following him are Darkhounds chasing him.
Say that again?
Perrin says something about, I got a smell of a hint of something evil.
Oh,
Between their party and Rand, there are Darkhounds chasing Rand. That's why he takes off every time he stops.
The whole thing with Rand is him being that huge Taviran, he twists fate. So things that are normally in balance could become unbalanced. So in one place, there's a ton of weddings, which is really weird. In another place, a kid falls out of a window, lands on the concrete, gets up and walks away. And then something else happens, but it's always like in balance.
Something else happens, like a guy like walks around a corner and like twists his ankle and then breaks his neck too.
Yeah, somebody dies. There's one scene where I believe it's Matt and he's walking through there and they're in Tyr and he doesn't realize that Rand is around, but Rand is like right around the corner and he just sees like some guy that looks like Rand and this guy trips, flings his fish and they all land in a big circle, like head down in the mud.
They're like swordfish. They're like,
yeah, like they all just like
circle.
land in a circle and everybody stands around like, what the heck?
Isn't it in the symbol?
I was just going to say, I
It
bet it's...
said it's circle, but I don't think it said the symbol. But I listened to that again. But yeah, I would not be surprised if that's what it was. But I just listened to that recently, and I was like, I thought that it lands in the symbol, but I could be wrong.
Another thing is that you get another hint, or I mean, it's more than a hint. It's more like a hey, slap in the face. Aes Sedai cannot raise the dead. Like you get a limit on what they can do healing wise.
They can pick locks like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that she is recognized either as saying that dude is pretty adept at recognizing an Aes Sedai, or that they aren't being as careful as they normally would be, which is what I took it as, because they're stressed out and they're hurrying to try to catch Rand.
Maybe the show is doing a bad job of it. Aes Sedai are Aes Sedai as fuck.
Yeah. You know what? It always seemed that way in the book to me, too. I'm like, how do you not know they're Aes Sedai? It's a lone female, which never happens in this world, unless she's got a bunch of guards or she's an Aes Sedai. And then if she's got a dude with her, that confirms it.
Wearing a big-ass ring.
And a cape, the dude makes him look like he's a floating head. I want one of those, by the way.
Oh, you know what? I think this is another thing that usually it's so spelled out, but since the breaking, a lot of people haven't seen one, so they just think it's a gorgeous woman and a dude, I guess.
That is true. Certain places, you're right, because there's like, are you Trolloc? Are you Ogier? What's an Ogier? I don't believe in those stories. Oh, shit, but I'm staring at one. It's like, well, yeah, better get on board. A lot of shit's about to change.
So, yeah, some lady and her dude just kind of walks through, and yeah, you would have no reason to think like, oh, yeah, of course a fucking Aes Sedai came to my town, because that happens all the time.
Listen, I don't believe in Trollocs, I don't believe in Ogier, and I don't believe in snow.
Nope. That last one is bullshit. Oh, wait, no, it was snowing this morning when I went to work. Oh, you guys live in California? Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck me!
Oh, hey, Jeremy, so I don't think that Moraine did anything. It probably didn't heal him, right? She just delved him?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
So delving it's basically I think we did talk about this because I was like, it's the tricorder. It's the tricorder from Star Trek.
Oh, right.
You two nerds don't look at me like you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Star Wars, dude, not Star Trek. Nope, blasphemy.
I want to like Star Trek more, and I watch it, I enjoy it. I've watched a couple for Time Pop, but I can't get into it, and I'm almost ashamed that I can't.
Wow, I feel so.
I watched a few with William Shatner until like William Shatner got a little bit older, and then he looks so much like my dad.
Then you really fell in love with it. I get it. Okay, so what the delving does is she can like use her powers to look inside him and find out what is wrong. Say you have, I don't know, a heart condition. She could be like, you have shortness of breath.
It's like Will Arnett in that episode of Parks and Rec where he does the whole body scan on Leslie Knope.
Basically, say you got like, I don't know, chest pains, and she could look at you and be like, oh, you have something wrong with your. She could use the power to go inside you, or look inside you.
Ooh,
and be
like, I'm listening.
And be like, okay, you have this issue. And so that's what she did with him. She went, how can I fix this? Oh, there's no way I can fix this.
There's nothing wrong with him. He's perfectly
Of
healthy.
course, Robert Jordan has a special name for it, but of course I knew she could do that. I just didn't know it was called delving.
It's like in Fletch when he's got Dr. Jellyfinger in his ass and
Moon River.
Using the whole fist there, Moraine? Oh, Moraine will find your taint.
Moraine's all bend over, Mr. Babar.
No, 2 R's. 2 R's.
2 R's. No, that's Aes Sedai with an S.
Eyes.
2 S's.
Yeah, not Aes
Oh, I thought you
Sedai.
meant together. But I didn't know you meant together. Oh,
Yeah, 2 S's. So I think I'm just gonna do one outro, and then I'm gonna do another intro for the new episode. But I will I'm gonna copy and paste the outro.
Nice.
No.
Yes.
Okay. You got to do a different stinger though. That's no fun when you just.
He always does that. There's always enough left over that he can put a stinger on. The Wheel of Time.
Thank the light for listening to our podcast. Please rate us, like us, tell a friend about our show. Thank the light.
Please like us.
And ask us some questions. Send us. You guys know a lot about us. If you want to know something else about us, it doesn't have to be about Wheel of Time. Ask us what's up.
Cannabis questions?
Fatty's got cannabis questions. I got your AV questions. And Jeremy, well, we love Jeremy.
Jeremy knows about natural gases.
That's true. That's true. Hey, you know what? Old school baseball trivia. That's about all I got.
There we go.
How many saves did Tom Hankey have in 1986?
Tom Hankey in 1986, probably 34. No, 36.
Look it up, people. Fact check him.
Damn it. Now I got to do it.
He's going to go look it up now.
Check us out on Twitter. We are Wolf Brothers at Parstaleman. That is Wolf Brothers at Parstaleman. Oh, and send those questions and comments to thankthelight@gmail.com. That is thankthelight@gmail.com. If you're looking for another great podcast to listen to while you wait for the next episode of Thank the Light, head on over to whatsoundsawesome.com and check out our fantastic podcast lineup. We have comedy and spirituality, time travel movies, fitness and nutrition, and awesome women in the form of all the answers, truth not trends, time, pop, be brave, and that fitness couple.
Hey, Tom Hankey had 27 saves in 1986, by the way. I feel so disappointed in myself.
I'm impressed that you knew that he was a stopper and not a fucking...
Well, you're the one who said it. How many saves did he have? So I knew. You know why? Because Tom Hankey was the closer for the Toronto Blue Jays in RBI baseball.
Ah. And on that note, peace favor your sword. Put your dagger in the horn box.
I just want to say Simeon's an OG because, you know, yellow eyes, he knew it was up.
Yeah, and you guys just heard, we wrote an entire scene. Well, mainly Justin wrote an entire scene. Why we're not working on this show, I have no idea. We have fixed scenes just between the two of us on text and made them better.
Rafe, my Instagram is Fatty the Chef. Parstaleman, bro. I work fucking cheap.
And I would work, for less than what he's doing. And I'd fix all this stuff. Listen, I'm a terrible speller, but I'm probably a better speller than Justin is now. At least I've seen on the text.
No, I won spelling bees, bitch, and bad texter. I can spell good.
Okay. All right. I spell well good. Real good.
Fatty's bad with the thumbs, but in here it's poetry.
Poetry, but like you have to know what he's thinking to understand what it is.
You have to delve into his mind to know what the fuck is going on.
Don't crouch in my stern. Let's go to the next episode.
I am not average. I am not ordinary. I am a masterpiece. You know I do it for me. I am not perfect. No, that's imaginary. But I'm a masterpiece. You know I do it for me. And all my colors and paints, all my lines and my shapes, every move that I make, I do it for me. I am not basic. It's self-explanatory. I am a masterpiece. You know I do it for me. Just the way I like it. Yeah.
Are your guys' recordings going?
Nope.
Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese for We Mixed It, LLC. Go to whatsoundsawesome.com. I edit out most of the things you say, so one more word isn't a problem.
I thought I was the star of this podcast.
What?